All right, everybody, it's time for our very first matchup of the day. XSET versus Mirage. And Michael, we find ourselves in a bit of a weird spot.
Really?
They're both 9th and 8th place between them. So we will be casting the two lowest teams to start off this show.
Yeah, Parker, and this is a really consequential match. It was touched on the analyst desk there. You're taking a look at XSET and Mirage. XSET, the expected underdog going into a match like this, but then not right now, though, because Mirage's whole stage has been abysmal, and XSET upset Sonics in the last Playday, so anything's on the table. I mean, if there's going to be a time where Mirage's stage turns around, it would be now. But will that happen? I don't know.
I mean, it has to be now. I like that the desk talked about this. In the Mirage matchups that we've seen thus far, it's Space Station, Oxygen, and Dark Zero as their three opponents. That is an incredibly strong schedule. You are going up against three teams that historically sit in the top 4 of the North American League, and now with the Sonics improving their stock, top 5 if you want to call it that. Whereas XSET have had a significantly weaker schedule. They lost to Beast Coast, another team that is not touching the upper echelons of the NA League. They did the same by losing to Astralis, but then they turned around, Michael, and they stunned us yesterday on this map, mind you, by beating the Sonics 7-3. Anyway, we have an interesting question today that actually doesn't involve either of these teams. The question is, should we take away Caliber Jacob's laptop? Yes or no?
What is that?
Personally vote yes.
Why? I saw that in the community poll forum, and I was like, what's the actual question? And they're telling me that's the actual question. Why? I vote completely indifferent. I have absolutely no opinion on the personal electronics.
Have we asked if Monte
Jacob.
Cristo has a laptop? I feel like he'd be a great person to give it to.
Yeah, we could give it to him. How about that? There you go. Parker coming up with all the great ideas today.
They took his away because of the death whistle.
That makes sense. The death whistle, I mean, it was a very precarious event due to the death whistle, Parker.
Well, it seems like we're almost ready to get underway. Big stakes for both of these teams here. Obviously, relegations are going to be playing into the minds of these teams. You do not want to finish dead last. You don't want to have to contend for your spot to stay here in the North American League. And for both of these teams, they find themselves in unenviable positions where they are both fighting for the bottom. That's it. Coming into this matchup, it's Mirage in dead last, which is very odd given that this Mirage team actually finished in the top 4 of the very first stage. Now, Caliber Jacob said that, they haven't been good since they lost Hot and Cold. I'll let you be the judge of that. I'm not going to weigh in on that. But the stats really do tell the story here, Michael. And for Mirage, even if it's been against the 3 best teams, or 3 of the best teams in the North American League, they have not looked particularly convincing at any point. They've had a couple good rounds, but that's been about it. They'll have their hands full today here against XSET, Michael, as we go back to the map that XSET brutalized the Sonics on yesterday, as we get underway with our very first matchup of the day.
So it's that advanced information advantage that we have here for Mirage. They're going to know how XSET plays on this map because they just saw XSET play this map. And we'll jump right into the operator ban phase. See what we get rid of. See if it's anything substantial. It's probably going to be your standard stuff. Oh, wow. I was going to say, it's probably going to be your standard stuff. Maybe not a Thatcher ban, but looky here. We got a Thatcher ban. Not terribly surprising, but also you don't have to ban Thatcher on Coastline. I think he's definitely more potent now that they've added a wall to VIP, but I don't know. You can just not. Nomad is the other attacker, man.
What noise was that?
Which one? The It's like a like a I can't make it noise. It's like a verbal shrug.
Oh. Nomad will join Mira and Valkyrie, and a map that used to be characterized by its innovative bans and innovative style of play certainly seems like it's going to play out very similarly to what we've witnessed before. Maybe the change to that wall upstairs in VIP, which fundamentally impacts 2, if not 3 of the bomb sites. Maybe that is going to normalize Coastline to a certain extent. I mean, we still need to wait and see. The jury's not out on it just yet. The jury's still out on it, but we'll take a look. Very first defense for Mirage is going to be downstairs in Sunrise Barn. Is there anything that you think is worth talking about these lineups or the bans?
Jackal's going to be in play. That's substantial on Coastline because it's a really shallow map. Defender bans were super predictable and standard. The Nomad's the only real shift. I think that, again, I do think that Jackal's going to be pretty potent. Nothing else too crazy going on here. Loading says he's being targeted. His main attacker is Thatcher so far through this stage. So I guess that's what he means, but then his team was the one to ban Thatcher?
I mean, he's played a lot of Mira, and he has played some Nomad as far as I'm aware as well, so...
Yeah, there's been some Nomad play.
At this point, maybe he's just not allowed to play the game at all.
He's not allowed to play whatever he wants to play.
Oh, no.
And Benji's not allowed to go into gunfights with full HP. It's against the rules.
I don't know what happened, but he all of a sudden lost 70-ish, 60-ish of his HP. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that the only person who was reasonably close was Loading. It might have been through the wall, maybe a bailiff shot. I don't know.
Bird Lady's available, right?
Sorry?
You can play Bird Lady, right? Thunderbird?
Her name is Thunderbird, and
Bird
yeah,
Lady.
she is perfectly available.
Yeah, we haven't seen her, like, at all.
She hasn't been played once yet in NAL as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, she's been on the back burner. I do think she's got more potential than is being given credit to her by the NAL pros, personally. But it's a huge risk. It's a gamble to invest into that, just like it is to invest into an Ella. Big difference here, Ella's got that shield, and that gives her the ability to hold on to Office.
I don't know what got tossed out. I'm assuming that was a Gizmat to try and maybe disorient them a little bit. Nyx, who tends to die too early, and yesterday we got to see that front and center, might find himself in the same spot, and there he goes. He downs Filthy, but XSET pushes in together, and it's an opening death for Nyx yet again.
Yeah, Loading looking to follow, and Mirage already on the back foot as they lose yet another player. There goes Loading. Benji now, also on low HP, thanks to his teammates' efforts earlier in the round. I think that was Loading who did the damage, although I can't be certain. Is also on death's doorstep. He has a lot to cover by himself. He used to have support in the main lobby, now he's got to hold that solo, and that's not an easy task.
Now, so Dream sitting inside of bars, he'll have to watch over towards Office, as 2 members of Mirage being felled doesn't spell much success for them, and Benji also in a bit of a predicament with that HP that he lost early on. No HP to be regained. So he'll continue to scoot around. Those 2 kills for XSET, both coming in the first minute of action. Dream is the next one in line of sight as he takes some damage, but the run out from Thomas above is a big gamble. It does not pay off. Razor shuts him down, pulls out a frag grenade. Another could potentially be lined up. If it hits Dream, it takes a bit of his HP away, but that's about it. The smoke still has the deployable shield in front of him, but the grenade's going to blow up Benji. There wasn't much there to take care of, and Dream does some damage to NVK, but not quite enough. XSET seemingly quite close to a team ace, if my vision is correct. And they pick up a flawless round to start off this match.
I thought I saw somebody getting a triple kill there. Yeah, it was Razor got a triple kill.
So my vision was incorrect then.
Yeah, it's 3 for Razor, 2 for NVK. See, it's close. You were close, Parker.
I was not close at all, but thank you.
Okay. No, but well played to XSET Razor. Great entry. Good use of the nades there. Flawless round. So that is something. And quite substantial. That's the sort of round, when you start off like that, it really does set the tempo. It puts your opponents in a mind space where they're going, okay, darn it, that was pretty bad. We got to change things around, and they're going to change the site as a result. There's not a ton to dissect there, because mostly it was just XSET decided what they wanted to do. Luckily for them, the Marome for Mirage happened to be in their way. And then they absolutely stampeded through that roam, and that was it. That's the story. Round over. They hit the site. No answer back from Mirage.
Well, Mirage has proven over these last 3 games that we've witnessed, and round number 1 is really no different either, but obviously there's still so much more of this to go for them on defense, 5 more rounds, is that it takes them a while to find their footing. This team is not usually hot right out the gate. Yesterday, obviously, they picked up those 2 rounds before OXG started steamrolling them, and... Or rather, sorry. That was the other game we were watching. That was the Straw. My brain gets confused sometimes, because that was Coastline yesterday.
It's okay.
But Mirage takes some time to find their footing. We've seen this time and time again. It happened against SSG when they played them in the very first Playday. We saw yesterday against DZ as well, as DZ looked very indomitable at the start, prompting Mirage to take that timeout quite early on.
Yeah.
So if Mirage can play safe, play protected minutes for some of these players, keep them in positions where they're not going to die early, and I hate having to call out Nyx every single time, but he does tend to be that culprit. If you can get an early pick and not necessarily trade it back, but just survive for a period of time and then start to trade when the execute comes out, when the mid-round hits, or even the late round, then Mirage is going to be in a good spot. And XSET have proven so far that they are a better team than those first 2 matches suggest, but this is still a team that has been historically towards the bottom of the NA League. So if Mirage is going to pick up a win, this really needs to be it, as we talked about early on. And they have to prove that by getting a couple early rounds on the board.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to do that. This round is better than last, at least, Parker, as we've had a minute transpire already, and XSET have yet to get a kill. Some hard breach going on. That sounds like the VIP wall. It's likely to try and push Benji off that position upstairs, and they've done that. He's now playing by 90, a little farther back, but he's got a shield, so he can continue to be a nuisance to the top floor clear, which is not a particular focus for XSET, as they are trying to pincer onto A. Since they push the players out of VIP, they don't have to worry about the vertical defense, so they could just hit the site direct.
Oh, there's the very first kill. It's on to Thomas this time. Mirage surrendering early on, and a smoke will go into the middle of the site to potentially block off any visibility for the plant to go down. Prod diffuser in hand halfway through, and Nitro Cell is going to go off, but Mirage are getting cleaned out by XSET. They're not able to sweep back into the site. Nyx picks up his very first kill, but he and Benji have the rest of XSET to find with the clock going as well. Benji sees his target, but Razor has been so proficient with his shooting today, leaving just Nyx to fall and get taken out by NVK, while XSET picks up their second round.
All right, so this has been talked about briefly on Coastline. The map has changed drastically, and that VIP wall makes VIP a lot more holdable. You can actually defend vertically on a map like, or on a site, excuse me, like Kitchen. And that's exactly what we just saw Mirage try to do. They set up a vertical hold for Kitchen. And it would have worked, but XSET had the answer already. It's so simple when you think about it. Open the VIP wall. That, makes it so the defenders cannot defend within VIP, so they can't use the holes from above to deny a push into Kitchen. Take your Sunrise blue bar like your standard take as you do. Nothing too surprising or unusual there. And then just, okay, there's nobody in Kitchen anymore because they're trying to defend it vertically. They can't do that because you opened up that wall and you cover end plant. They had great coverage as well on the cutoff. NVK holding long haul all the way to main lobby. Had a player on the service entrance door. I believe that was Creators on the cutoff. He got 2 kills from that position. And XSET are firmly in control of Kitchen. Get the plant, you're done. It's a really easy counter strategy and a nice answer to the changes that we've been seeing here on Coastline from XSET.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
All right, well, underway, and this rotation, this site roulette that Mirage is playing will now bring them upstairs for the first time so far in this matchup. They went to the double bars to start off with in Kitchen as their second attempt, neither being successful. So hope and pray as you hang your hat on this hookah site in particular. Once again, for those of you that haven't really tuned in, there were some changes made to Coastline during Crystal Guard. The biggest change, and the most notable, happening over in VIP. They took out the window that was by the circle couch, and they've now replaced it with 2 panel reinforcements. So it allows you to reinforce that off, hold it a lot more, and with it, hard breach has become significantly more important on this map. For a bomb site like Hookah, well, you're going to need to hold upstairs, and I don't know exactly what the Tachanka uploading was doing, but it seems like the counters from XSET are working. because right now Mirage and Loading in particular have not been incredibly successful, but Benji pushes up onto Razor. He's going to be blinded here. Down goes Nyx. It is a very early brawl between these teams, and it will continue to go from bad to worse as Benji's gambit does not work out. Filthy shuts him down, leaving Thomas and Mirage with over half the round to go as the last two players up.
I don't know what it is that has given XSET this dedicated focus to their objective, but I love to see it, Parker. This is some beautiful Siege being played. The way they cleared out downstairs there, all hands on deck from XSET. Full focus. They know there's a heavy roam from Mirage downstairs. Okay, let's kill those players. Yeah, this is a hookah defense. Who cares? Focus on establishing the advantage, and XSET have done exactly that. They now have ample time and control to slowly and methodically execute wherever they so choose.
Well, there's been 40 seconds that have been burned on the clock here now as Thomas and Dream are the last two alive, and Dream very narrowly losing his life, but he's still surviving for now. Does some damage to soften up Prod on the window, but Diffuser will go down. In fact, Prod isn't actually the one on the window. It didn't look like he hit a single shot, but the Toxic Canister is enough to dislodge Prod from his position, so the Hibana will need to find somewhere else. And down goes Dream. Okay, I was not aware that Prod had been...
Yeah, he died to a nade earlier, actually. Another
Interestingly
nade.
enough. Okay,
Yeah.
well...
It's going faster than we can keep track here, Parker.
Certainly is, and I'm absolutely baffled with the tempo that we're seeing of this match. So much so, keeping up is a hurdle and a half. 3-0 for XSET, by the way, and that's going to cause a timeout immediately for Mirage.
Am I crazy, or is this the same round count that Mirage took a tactical timeout on last Playday when they were going up against DZ?
Well, Michael, let's go on over.
I could be
It
wrong.
is correct. It was 3-0 Dark Zero. Mirage took a timeout. DZ wins the fourth round to go up 4-0.
Yeah.
Mirage
yeah.
answers back, if you remember, with that bull rush play on the fifth round where they barreled through the opening into CCTV cache, killed the players from DZ and got the diffuser down. And then Dark Zero answered back and they took the first half 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, XSET cannot lose the first half. We're still trying to see what the meta shakes out for here on Coastline. Traditionally, this has been an incredibly attacker-sided map. If you want that trend line to continue, then for XSET, they're in good shape because they've taken 3 of these attacking rounds so far.
Yeah, the XSET's looking really good, and I already talked about briefly their roam clear, so I'm not going to reiterate that, but the follow-up to that, their ability to hit the brakes, slow down, realize the advantage they have, and then slowly walk themselves to the finish line. That's good stuff from XSET. That shows professionalism, shows practice and patience. Love to see it. And what we've seen so far from XSET is telling of multiple things. 1, XSET likes Coastline. 2, they know Mirage's Coastline. We discussed that advantage earlier because, I mean, we have seen Coastline played by XSET recently. But there are still VODs, of course, for Mirage from last stage to go over. I think what we're seeing here right now is XSET starting to find their identity and their comfort zone. And it's fun to watch because they've been downtrodden for a long time.
It's worth noting, by the way, that the info that I had on operator picks was outdated. Thunderbird has been played.
Which info?
So,
oh, okay. I didn't know that. What match was she played in? Did we cast it?
We did not, no.
Okay. That explains. But, yeah, no, she's still being undervalued. I played or not, it's... she's definitely not being played as often as you might expect.
Oh, she hasn't been a pivotal part of the meta, that's all. But anyway,
no, yeah. She really has not.
It was more so just to correct the record. It wasn't... There was nothing past that.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're wrong, Parker. How's it feel?
Attackers have located a bomb.
I mean, can't feel much worse than Mirage right now, by the way.
Oof.
So, Loading will get a C4 kill here pretty easily on the Razor, and we'll look for a follow-up, but there's nobody there. He gets shot through the wall and scoots away. Underwatch on this drone, and the inability to refrag from XSET right now might be a bit of a problem.
Right,
Rod could have followed up from his position, but...
Yeah, good job to Loading getting the 3rd kill for his team over 4 rounds. See if XSET can answer that as the Jackal track starts coming out here from Filthy. They do still have to clear upstairs. As you can see, a heavy roam on the top floor here for Mirage. Presence by 90 in VIP. They've got a firm hold, and they're ready for the oncoming storm from XSET. XSET's very focused on Sunrise. This is the first round we've seen from XSET. There's a little bit of dawdling going on the attack. A little bit of skirting around in the same location. Not sure what they want to do. And that lack of focus is allowing Mirage to rack up these kills. They get another one here as Thomas takes down NVK. XSET looking a little bit confused the first time.
The timeout seems to be working. Yesterday's top performer for XSET was Creators, and he's on right now unkillable 4-0, but he's not the only one. He and Filthy will need to do something they haven't done yet, which is die for Mirage to win this unless the two XSET members decide to stay alive and let the clock run out. XSET are the ones that are working within the next 60 seconds to get that diffuser down, so for Mirage, it is a major boon if XSET are not as aggressive as they need to be. The telltale sound of a toxic canister going off. Loading gives his position away over by the lobby. He can be tracked down by Filthy. He's got plenty of opportunities to track, by the way, but he's not employing any of them. Dream takes down Prod, so XSET's numbers will continue to dwindle, leaving XSET in a 2v4. They're doubled up on by Mirage with 30 seconds left to go. This is great position for the defense. The utility that they have available is really just limited to that single toxic canister from Dream. That's it, and that's really all you need. Creators will gun down Benji and then immediately hop in the courtyard. The site being kitchen means you got to get going because you are not quite close enough. Last smoke will choke out the doorway into kitchen. 15 seconds. Filthy approaching over by the bathroom, but he doesn't realize that Nyx is still inside a main lobby. He's been cleared out. The 5-0 Creators will become 5-1 as Dream silences the last member and gives him a belated funeral after all those rounds of staying alive. And Mirage finally gets onto the board.
You love to see it, Parker. Competition. And we're seeing a good lead-off pick there from Loading off that C4. No follow-up from XSET. You said it might have been a problem. Well, it certainly was. Get a second kill for Mirage, and now it's a 3 versus 5. That's a nearly unrecoverable position. Now, XSET did get closer there than I think many teams would have, but at the same time, a win's a win for Mirage, and that's all that really matters. I love to see the confidence from Mirage. I love that even though they are down 3 rounds, they just went for it. I mean, that leadoff pick for Loading, that's a very dangerous push he made through the security hall, and it could have cost his team. It could have been the punishing first pick for XSET, in fact. But the timing worked out in his favor, and that kind of brazenness is completely necessary when your back's against the wall.
Well, the timeout immediately paying dividends, and so much so that it has prompted XSET now to make some changes. Filthy onto this Lion. This is one of the few maps where we do tend to see the French operator get brought, and that's because there are tons of potential for floor bangs. Rotates are pretty easy to pull off. I think it was Flynn in a cast that he did not too recently. But he basically talked about how one of the beauties of Coastline is that you can rotate from the top floor down to pretty much anywhere on the bottom floor in a couple seconds because of that skylight, that big opening in the courtyard as well. And a lion alongside drones can work very effectively to flush you out. Now, all 3 castle barricades from Nyx are being deployed on those 3 windows, which essentially seal off that entire part of the courtyard. The focus then from soft destruction on XSET will be on those barricades should they choose to do so. If they don't want to put that utility there, it'll have to go elsewhere, but there are still those 4 panels inside of the pink bar that will likely be the target for Prod's X Kairos, as that hard breach will be incredibly important to put some pressure on this hookah site.
There's the hard breach you talked about, and that's going to force the defenders out of VIP. And now presence established for the attackers. There's still players on 90, or a player. I think that's Nyx. I'm not sure. It could be Thomas. And with that presence, actually, it's going to be Nyx falling back. The Lion E1D just a little too late there. And, oh, the follow-up. Down goes Nyx. I'm not actually sure who got the down there, but he's on the floor. And XSET have established control advantage by 90.
And they want to be very quick to try and secure this so that Nyx either can't provide any intel or do too much. But nobody's going to come to his aid whatsoever. Razor credited with that kill. He'll pick up another and then immediately go on to drone.
We've got the down sound, but that's okay. Hopefully that goes away. Now Mirage still trying to play from below. You can see Thomas using his impacts to try and poke holes in this VIP presence for the attackers, but it's just not working. There's nobody exposed to that position right now, and it looks like XSET wants to shift their focus to the Aqua side and start setting up for a default plant. Not as much time here for XSET as they usually have in these situations, and not as much of a man advantage.
Calm before the storm. Oncoming storm, as I think you talked about it. 1 minute remaining, and Mirage hunkered down in the bomb site over by Pink. Once again, this is a hookah defense, and XSET seem to have their tentacles all over those areas of the map, just a little off-site. We'll have to take out the player inside of Pink. If they can do that, then any of the staying power from Mirage will be bled away. It appears that Dream is playing in that same spot. He'd done that before, and Prod finds himself the victim of a Dream's aggression.
That's huge.
Out he goes, and the smoke now still has 2 canisters left with 30 seconds to go. This is perfect timing. His attention elsewhere, though. Over towards VIP, and he might miss out. Oh, no! Graders just walks in, takes out loading, and now XSET will just barge into the bomb site. Finding all the kills, leaving Dream as the last one left. He takes one down, but the SMG-11's good enough for a single kill and no more. XSET might have lost the previous round, but they tie it right back in terms of round 1. Over the last 2 rounds, they're back up by 3 rounds. It's 4-1. I hope you're following along, by the way. I deliberately made that confusing.
Yes, it was definitely very confusing, Parker. Thank you. But yes, the advantage is firmly for XSET right now. I want to say, I think what we just saw there from XSET was really solid. They heavily stacked onto Aqua, and usually that just results in a bottleneck and slows everything down to the point where the attack completely halts. But what we saw from XSET is they set up in almost like a firing squad and just confidently all together took the fights presented to them from Hookah and from Pink Bar and Base. And I thought that was going to be a much better round for Mirage. And after that pick onto Prod that Dream managed to get, that's massive. Prod was the only attacker in VIP. He's the cutoff. He's the punish for the smoke. He's the reason why you can confidently push him through billiards in the first place. But Prod dies there. That opens up so many possibilities for Mirage. And then they all die.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
I mean, so far, Mirage has looked, I would argue, much better on-site than off through these 5 rounds. But then again, we've already determined that my vision is not something to be relied upon today.
No vision, no math, Parker. You cast by senses that are not connected to your eyeballs.
Well, the downside of having an absolutely absurd headache / possible migraine.
Oh, what's going on? You all right?
I get them from time to time.
Oh, do you take anything?
Advil.
It's good.
But
hopefully
no, it's just one of those days. But like I said, it was mostly intended as a joke.
Yeah, I'm just
trust
like,
my vision.
I'm drawing it out to make it as awkward and weird as possible. Yeah. It's kind of the... I don't know,
nothing has changed
tango.
here with... I hate to say this, but nothing has changed here with Mirage. We are not seeing a better team playing against a weaker opponent. I mean, the speculation is, okay, well, XSET are currently in 8th place. Mirage are in 9th. If there's ever a matchup that Mirage is going to win, it's got to be against XSET. What other teams are left for them to beat? Yeah, I know that their 3 losses come up against top teams and teams that are usually in the top 4. I understand that completely. The strength of schedule so far for Mirage has been nuts. They've had to play really good opponents.
Right.
But even when they've looked competitive, they still haven't been so sure-footed. And I mean, there's a lot for them to work out. This is still a team that made a roster move. They picked up Thomas after dropping Quartz in the offseason. And just frankly, there's not a lot of things that we're seeing right now on this map that lead me to believe that Mirage have made any real improvements. It's a big challenge. Yes, XSET played this yesterday and bodied the Sonics here. So clearly this is a good enough map for XSET.
Well, here's the thing. I want to say, yes, Mirage is playing abysmally. Yes, they are in a bad spot right now. Yes, they're going to need to make some changes before that corrects course. But they're not the only story here. I mean, XSET are playing really quite well. And I think they're starting to find their stride with this new roster. And that needs to be brought up and needs to be discussed because XSET looked completely harmless in the previous stage. They looked completely harmless even at the beginning of this stage. They looked like much of their old self when they played against Beast Coast, when they played against Astralis. But over yesterday and today, XSET are looking like a much more potent team. And I'm not just saying that, oh yeah, they're beating Mirage because Mirage is down bad. I do think XSET's got some chops here. They're looking confident in their play. They're coordinating well. They're going together. They're patient. There's some precision. There's thought behind what they do. And that is massive. Now, it's not perfect. There have been a couple rounds where XSET lingers a little too much, but it's still better than they used to be.
So some heavy defense upstairs over by VIP as we are now deceptively halfway through this round. It has absolutely flown by, and third time's a charm here for Hookah to see if Mirage can pull this one off. Twice in a row, in fact, and neither of the defenses from Mirage have looked particularly comfortable. We'll see if anything changes. Benji's the only one who's not at full HP for the moment. An explosion goes off. More explosions, some from flashbangs, some from grenades as they try to flush out by Billiards. I think they're assessing if Hookah is clear enough. The telltale signs of a player on Cool Vibes, by the way, is that rotate at the top of the blue stairs, and that's exactly where NVK is looking.
It's an interesting focus here for XSET. It looks like they want to go for a Hookah take, not a Billiards take, which is like, it's very unusual these days, very rarely done. And it's possible, but they need a pick or two to open things up, especially onto potentially that smoke, I would say, but he's already used all of his gas canisters.
The top two performers from yesterday, by the way, were Creators and NVK,
Whoa!
and well, they're still doing a mighty fine job. Creators grabbed 11 kills yesterday. He's already at 9, and we're only in the 6th round. Tons of time for him to be able to continue with that tally, but not this round, as loading lets him down. And the rest of Mirage are all hitting their shots. All right, leaving Razor in a hopeless situation. A 1v3, but is there clutch potential on the board? No. You can take away his operators, but you can't take away his ability to frag well, and loading will make you pay for it. 2 beautiful kills on his end to end this round and end the half. XSET still prevail by a score of 4-2, but at least Mirage were able to keep it closer with that last round.
And I was going to say, Parker, that is why you need to get those opening picks, but XSET did. XSET got the 2 opening picks. They looked like they were in a good position. Everything was going smoothly, and then suddenly Mirage start to clap back. What a retake, and what great timing for it to happen. One of the problems with Hookah, and one of the reasons why it's so rarely attacked these days, is because even if you would disable the initial crossfires from Vase, for example, there's still retake potential. And with the way that Mirage was setting up on that site, the castle barricades on the window, that allows rotates from VIP Hall from the roamers. So they're coming back now through VIP Hall, and the crossfires open because the wall in Hookah was already opened by the defenders. Yeah, you're going to have a hard time planting in Hookah. So that strategy was kind of dead from the get-go for XSET. They didn't have the right cuts. They didn't, even though you got the initial picks, it didn't end up mattering. And loading, in particular, by Pink Bar, he popped off. I believe he got 3 kills that round. Beautiful stuff. So Mirage, a little bit of salvage work being done there. That's something, and maybe it's just enough.
It's the kind of confidence-inspiring play that he desperately needed. I mean, Mirage had been struggling to find any player to get onto the board, and we talked about this yesterday in the matchup with loading, is that he's a tremendously talented player, and if he can find his footing in a matchup, then Mirage will do well, and their success, honestly, seems to rely on him more than anything else. When loading does well in a round, then the team overall flourishes.
Parker, it wasn't too long ago that loading was one of the worst performers in the NAL, period. And now he's the star on the team.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to call him the star, Michael.
When we talk about a player and we
know.
say when he performs, the team does very well, that's the star. That's what we're calling him. That's what it's obviously implied, but it's there. I mean, and I agree with the sentiment, to be honest. When I've seen loading pop off, his team tends to see a lot more success. I don't think it's necessarily what he should be doing. I don't know if he's the right player for the job, but they don't have hot and cold anymore. So someone's got to fill the shoes.
I think the big issue that Mirage had, and without dissecting it too much, and we'll just talk about it a tiny bit before we get underway with what is a kitchen defense for XSET's very first attempt on defense, is that Mirage were able to do well when they had hot and cold leading the charge. I mean,
Ooh.
They picked up Thomas, maybe not for fragging potential, maybe just for leadership, but he's down for the count, and he's the first one to die. Dream swiftly refrags onto Creators, and Creators nets his 10th kill, an astounding number, by the way. Doing an excellent job, and a bit of a misplay from Prod there as he can't hit the drone fast enough. We see Flores show up, and that Rotero drone goes out, and it claims the deployable shield, which is going to make holding Pantry a lot harder.
We can reconvene about the conversation later, too. We can talk about that later. There's a lot to get into. Oh, that's an interesting use of the Tachanka. Molotoving your own feet so that you take some damage to make it easier for your opponents. Really nice thing there for Razor to do. And he's going to do it again. No, really, he's trying to get those Molotovs on the kitchen door, and he's just missing.
I think it seems to be that case. And I mean, Razor, you got some work to do. But just like that, Mirage are going to break right in. Down goes Prod. He was the real only one to stop it. Filthy goes too. And Mirage have a commanding lead. Razor still from above with NVK scrambling to get back to the bomb site. Mirage really likes these brazen plays, and they worked out. They worked out yesterday against Dark Zero, and it seems to be working against XSET as well. This is about to be a one-round game unless XSET can pull off a miracle. They've got a lot of things to do ahead of them. Number one, once you plant in kitchen, you can go out a doorway, you can hop out a window. You are in a rough spot. NVK tries to vault on over. You don't need to even be in the building, but in this case, whether you are or you aren't, it doesn't matter. You know exactly where the XSET players are. Razor having a bit of a snooze under the tree inside a courtyard. He doesn't need to really do much. And I think at this point, with the time left, he knows it's an unwinnable round. He picks off loading. A nice shot before Benji is there immediately to trade him away. Mirage now managed to take 2 in a row. And with that, suddenly, the momentum that had been built up from XSET is effectively gone. And we have a one-round game between these two teams.
Yeah, so... basically what happened there, Mirage, they get Sunrise control. Good job. They did lose one player, though, on that entry, of course, to Creators. Well done to Creators. But the problem was that XSET put all of the pressure for holding kitchen door onto one player, Razor, who was playing Tachanka above in VIP. And his job was to drop those mollies on the kitchen door and just keep doing that to waste time. But instead, he dropped them on his feet. Whoops. I'm not sure how that happened. It doesn't really matter in the end. It's all just, it's either a bug or excuses, but the point is, if those mollies had been on kitchen door, this double rush we saw from Mirage into kitchen would have been met with absolute failure. They're driving themselves straight into fire. Sound cues pop off. The hold is in. The HP advantage is now for the defenders. It's the little things that make a lot of difference, Parker. And those mollies not going where they ought to have, that mattered a lot.
I mean, it's just like a misplaced smoke. You can lose an entire round because your smoke botches where that canister goes, and instead of pushing the attacker off the defuse where somebody is waiting to kill them the moment they pop up, the planter is able to get the diffuser down, and now all of a sudden that single issue is the greatest thing that you have to face. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into these rounds. There's so many moving parts, if I can employ that cliche. And yet, sometimes it really does fall to just a single thing. And Tachanka being able to waste time, act as that area denial with the Shumika launcher, and have those Molotovs continue to burn away at the door, means that Mirage cannot just rush in and start killing you. And they do that. They rush in, they take out Prod, they immediately pivot Razor, or not Razor, the Kaid falls. I believe that was Filthy inside of service, and that was it. It was over. Now XSET is full control, and it's Razor and NVK to try and retake from above. An absolute nightmare to find yourself in for XSET.
Yeah, it's also the fact that they were relying on the Tachanka, I think, on XSET. And they like, it seemed like it was their plan, and they had it on their mind, but it's done now. Nyx is in really early. I'm just noticing here that Mirage are going quite quickly on the solo drone-in adventure. Somewhat dangerous, but no pressure from XSET being used here. They're just taking the passive stance on their roam upstairs. Absolutely nobody downstairs. They're very focused on this horizontal. And that's allowed a lot of free clear here for Mirage. They know what room they have to work with. And it's a lot.
Grenade hand to try and clear away anything on the stairs. I don't think it gets what they were looking for because the barbed wire is still there. Prod takes some damage in the process, but it's enough to push both Thomas and Benji back of their position. And now Mirage will need to wait a little while longer. Clone goes up and gives its position away, but Prod is prepared for the next follow-up in the next wave, which happens to be a drone, but he's shown a little bit of difficulty in shooting those drones thus far today, and it happens yet again, so he reflexively tosses out that toxic canister. First kill of the round goes to Nyx. He has not been giving his life away with the same reckless abandon that we've seen before, and Mirage are eager to tie this one up, as now Prod is staring down death on these cool vibe stairs. Thomas on a tiny portion of HP. Down goes loading. Amidst the smoke, Prod will push down to try and claim another life, but there's 3 players from Mirage in that particular area, and a stun goes up. There goes the clone, and well, Prod is not long for this earth. He's taken out. A nitro cell goes off in front of Benji, doing a whole bunch of damage. There's still a minute left to go in this round, and they are just coming to blows, Michael. Dream tries to attempt the plant, but he can't do it. Falls off. He doesn't want to be exposed over by Hookah, and Benji has so many bullets he can just throw them at the problem. He even gets a team kill onto Dream, leaving NVK to try and clutch, and it's very possible. Diffuser down, pistol out, but no, Thomas with the pre-fire, and Mirage will tie up the game.
Thomas was on 1 HP, Parker. 1 shot from that pistol on NVK, and that round goes the other way. What a absolutely chaotic round, and it's Hookah execution played out like you would expect from a Hookah execution. All of the action on that blue staircase was chaotic as all heck. Back and forth on the kill feed. It's a tactical timeout here for XSET as the round count has been tied up 4-4. So this is the correct time to be taking a pause, Parker, as Mirage have rallied.
They really have. They've put together an impressive streak here and are now putting a clinic onto XSET in a way that I don't think we were expecting to see, and there's been some mistakes committed by XSET. One of the few players who have played Thunderbird, as we corrected the record earlier on, was Razor, and Thunderbird seems to be ready. It's going to be a double blue bar and Sunrise defense with Tachanka also coming out. This timeout from XSET hopefully paying dividends as Jarvis is a relatively smart coach, and hopefully he can settle down the team as they've now surrendered 3 rounds in a row and have only picked up 1 round in the last 5. That is a bad spot to be in if you're XSET and you are losing grip.
Yeah.
Thunderbird was just a ruse, by the way, as Razor picks off of her, so sorry to tease you. You don't get to see it, but we can see it.
Yeah, I know. It's he switched to mute, but the one of the things that I want to highlight from that last round, because there was a lot that went on, a lot of chaos, but I want to give you one little nugget that I thought was really neat. The Yana from Mirage, and the fact that Prod traded himself out for the Yana clone. That's why Yana is so potent. It's not just the explosives, it's also that her utility in a team fight like the one we just saw forces the defense onto the back foot in that they now are the ones on the wrong side of a trade, and a trade that means nothing to boot. So if you're trading out a Yana clone, well, that's not very good. So Prod traded himself for a Yana clone, and that's why the team fight ended up going so readily in the favor of Mirage. Little things like that, they go a long way, and I think it's an undervalued use of Yana.
Yana's pick rate has been something to really watch, by the way, over the last, oh my god, how many seasons has it been since she's been out now? This is where I get lost on the lore season comment.
I don't even know what season it is, Parker.
Well, she came out with Oryx, right? So it was Phantom Edge or whatever it was called. That was a year, that was over a year ago, wasn't it?
It was
over a year ago, because it was a year ago that we had Shadow Legacy.
I don't know
where
if it
Sam
was
Fisher came out. How time flies, doesn't it?
She came out alone, didn't she? Or did she come out with Oryx?
No, she came out with Oryx. Yep.
I don't even remember anymore.
So, anyhow,
so long.
Her pick rate has been incredibly good, and expect to see her more and more frequently. And as an operator that we don't really talk about the full usages of as we dive through the meta and the analysis that we see in front of our very eyes. Gone 6 grenades, can evade, most intel gathering devices while also having good guns. There really isn't much that she doesn't do. So, always a good spot to find themselves in, just as Mirage finds themselves in a great spot with the very first pick here, and XSET seemingly have lost the plot. They need to do something real quick. Nyx gets another opening frag, taking out NVK, who's been the second best performer for XSET. But over the last couple rounds, both Creators and NVK have been a little quiet Razor tossed out a Nitro Cell. Down goes Dream. There wasn't a ton there, but the Hard Breacher is now no longer available, and Mirage will have to do the rest of this work with just soft destruction. Whoa, brazen play from Mirage as they walk right in. There goes the body. Diffuser surrendered in front of Razor, but it's a back and forth contest as now loading can equalize. 2v2. They'll have to work together, but they are not particularly close to that diffuser. The play to rush into the bomb site has now put that case in an unenviable position, but okay, all right. A head-scratching altercation, leaving Creators last alive, and Mirage has the lead with that round.
The very first time they have, Parker, they are looking really good here as they managed to rally. Super impressive stuff. XSET, as you said, Parker, have seemingly lost the plot. Not ideal as they were in such a good position. Parker, they looked so good for so long, and now the question of, is this just an attacker-sided Coastline, starts to come into our heads. But I think yes and no. There have been a lot of potatoes over the last few rounds, a lot of puzzling decisions made by many players on XSET and Mirage. But it's starting to have a little bit of a shift here.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Across the board, it's been a weird match. I'm going to use the word weird because it's polite.
I mean, it is a very odd match. It has been quite sloppy on both sides, but I want to say that despite the sloppiness, which we have seen before, is that there were rounds of brilliance for XSET when they were on attack, and now I think we're starting to see a more coordinated Mirage emerge as well. That timeout from XSET hasn't really helped them the way that they wanted to.
True.
The timeout from Mirage seemingly doing a pretty decent job, actually, and Mirage are playing a lot more confidently, and even if I say confidently, confidence doesn't denote the fact that they're more coordinated either. You can be very confident and still not have the skills to back it up. I've met plenty of confident Silver Force. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they have the structure that they need, but the confidence and the structure combined for Mirage is working out well. That last round was an absolute head-scratcher, and it worked for Mirage, and they did the same thing when that Tachanka defense from XSET came out earlier that ultimately failed, just as Mirage did the same thing yesterday against Dark Zero on that one attack that they won.
Yep. The confidence sometimes will out, and at times it will get you punished. But it depends on the team you're playing against. Here, Mirage is starting to build in their confidence, and it's working great for them as they get yet again the lead-off pick, this time onto NVK, who has been one of the standouts for XSET. Him on the floor now, Razor's going to have to answer back, and he does onto Thomas, but that's the least impactful kill that you could possibly get right now, as Tommy has a whopping 2 kills across 10 rounds.
A very rough game from Thomas, but honestly not the worst that it was another leadoff pick for Mirage. So keep your eyes on that one. XSET a stalwart defense. They'll sit and wait as a minute has been burned off of this clock, and they are spread out all over the map. XSET want another attempt at this double bars bomb site and see if it can pay any dividends in comparison to where they were just mere minutes ago on an ultimately unsuccessful but still relatively close site.
Razor's in a good position to influence this office take if he can make something happen from Laundry, maybe drop through the security hatch, but it's a dangerous prospect, and he also could go through Aqua, but you could see that Mirage are wary of both of these drops and their potential.
Still this spread from XSET, but Dream's gonna walk right in. He sees the Malusi, and he only needs a little bit. He smacks the booty, and 2 big kills for him as he can now go at any point for a potential plant. He'll do just that behind the safety of the bar inside of Sunrise. This will prompt the 2 XSET members to try and drop on down. Dream taken out by Filthy from above. Why? Because Aruni can just punch her way through the floor, and now she's got case control as well, right by the kegs. Razor will have to head to that bottom floor. You don't want both of your players upstairs because they can ultimately get boxed out. A couple warning shots from Filthy, but he's still got aerial supremacy, and down goes Benji. A 2v2. This was very much in the favor of Mirage, but it's been swung back the other way. The grenade goes out, and it doesn't kill Filthy, but very close, and he'll be a shadow of himself. A single bullet through the ground should be his undoing. Case has been retrieved, and up on the futon it'll be planted over by Nyx, and now I'll hold that same position. We're in Mudroom. Long angle. Fast charge goes out, it'll blow open the wall, and there'll be even greater coverage for them. But loading goes down. Nyx will need to be the hero. He finds himself in a 1v2. Could be a 1v1 if he does a single point of damage to Filthy. He'll open up another line of sight on in as Filthy looks set to hop on that diffuser. Razor buying time at the halfway point. Either XSET member showing that they know what they want to do with that case. Filthy flirting on and off. Nyx can hear the bullets go on over. XSET looking to tie this one up. They're almost past the point of no return. Filthy goes off. There goes Nyx, and they have plenty of time to do it. XSET confident as they retake the site, playing it perfectly from above. Neither of the two members losing their lives, and we are again tied up.
Wow. What a round, Parker. What a round. That is a really crazy result. When you think about it, the control there from the Aruni above, the use of that fist to open up those holes, that's the adaptability you get from Aruni you don't get from really any other operator. You can just keep making those holes wherever you need them, whenever you need them. You don't run out of ammunition. You can just keep on going. That control on the diffusers, killing that time and getting those 2 kills as well, was massive for XSET. It forced Mirage into an uncomfortable position. One thing I will say on Mirage's side is they were doing an office take there, Parker, and they ended up planting in front of mud. They crossed through the entire site, and they felt attrition through the entire site every step of the way, and then they planted in front of mud. Their original plant location was Sunrise, and that's part of why they got punished in the first place. Very puzzling decisions made there for Mirage to put themselves deeper and deeper into the bog, and XSET, good job punishing.
Well, I mean, think about where Dream came from, right? It was a double bars defense. He could have very easily tried to plant inside of that blue bar, as you mentioned, and instead he went through the rotate, picked up 2 immediate kills, and then tried to plant in the bar in the one part of the map that they really couldn't have picked a worse spot to do so, because XSET had that control from above. They would have had to necessitate a rotate for them to get over to the billiard table to then open up those kill lines or sight into the blue bar. So Mirage thought they had something going, and that brief hesitation from Dream to then take out the bulletproof camera and plant where he did by those kegs ultimately ended up costing them the round, and they had to retrieve that diffuser while a lot of time was burned by XSET. So XSET played that very well, especially on that retake. Like I said, both players up top trying to retake the site. No easy feat.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of holes from above, possibly also by blue bar, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, hindsight's 20/20 here, and we're using it to say that was the wrong spot. Now, we've got Mirage fighting back here, and that's the most important thing. They've rallied. And this, for a while there, Parker, this looked like it was just going to be a walk-off for XSET, who looked in firm control. Early altercations here as MVK falls back to Aqua. He actually possibly could have gotten a pick there on one of the players ascending main lobby stairs, but that could be a clone. Yeah, no, that's a clone from Thomas, so it wouldn't have mattered. Still, though, clearing upstairs here, VIP, penthouse, and projector and control for Mirage.
They're on the hunt to find where NVK is that opening upstairs in VIP will invite the guests on in. The deployable shield will fall by the double door leading into the pink bar above, and that means less coverage for the smoke player of Prod playing that angle, but no, it's actually the Tachanka of Creators who's going to be there. The smoke is pushed up what appears to be by Vase with Razor holding cool vibes. There is denial for all 3 of those. The toxic canisters for Prod, the nitro cell for Razor, and then of course the Shamika launcher for Creators. We haven't really seen Tachanka been all that impactful thus far, so we have a good opportunity to do that. Maybe stall out, and hopefully Creators can do a better job than Razor had done that one time.
Here come the drones into Aqua, give information to the attackers, and you can see it'll get shot. No exchange of damage really there until Filthy is downed on the rotate. Loading will secure that kill. And now Aqua control for Mirage, as well as the man advantage, thanks to taking out Filthy. No answer back from XSET yet as the action starts to mount.
We inch closer to the end of this matchup, no matter who wins here. Michael and Loading will take out Razor. XSET's numbers falling, and a bit of a miss from Creators. He's having some fun times with those mollies. Dream getting the plant down, by the way, and the fire is going everywhere but in the right area. The Flores will be able to get out of there relatively effectively. No hard breacher brought by Mirage, and they don't really need it as they're just crushing the site. NVK in a 9-6 record will look to try and add to that, but he can't do it. Thomas guns him down, and despite trailing for most of this match, the favorite team to win it all is now Mirage as they sit on match point.
Wow. What a round there for Mirage. Great collapse in through Aqua. Good punishment. You can see Tommy is happy. And once they followed up on all of their positions, they had VIP control. They've got control out on the balcony. They've got control by Aqua. It's a complete collapse of the defensive structure for XSET. And they have no counterplay utility for that plant. and here's the thing, man. Like, Tachanka, I just want to say, I have to say, Tachanka he gets a bad rap, okay? He can be very useful. However, in order for him to be useful, you need to know how to use him, and you need to know where to place those Molotovs, man. Like, if you bring a Tachanka to deny default plant, then your Tachanka needs to know the lineup for that denial. You gotta practice that. So those Molotovs, not only going nowhere near the default plant, but also cutting off the rotation for his teammate, who is sharing pink bar with him. I mean, it is so much more than bad use of a Tachanka. It's detrimental use because it now is kneecapping the rest of your team. It's across the board confusing. You just expect that the operators there, they know where to place the Molotovs for them to actually be impactful.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Well, here comes what could be the very final round. And is Razor down below, potentially fishing for a Nitro Cell kill, getting some intel, or is he just going to go for a break through the window? This is a hell of a play to make on what could be the final round because XSET are staring down the barrel of defeat. Mirage successful over the next 3 minutes, Michael, and they win the match. You lose Razor early on, your likelihood of winning the match goes down drastically. Good thing he peeled off of that. Not wise to gamble your life.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, I think, in this situation, Parker. I like that we're seeing a little bit of aggression because it shows that they're not dissuaded from playing their own game. And by them, I mean XSET. That's good. It's good. Razor is going to be playing actually also aggressively, but in a different position over by the white staircase that's by the main lobby. And he's trying to prevent a push in through that front door. This is a penthouse theater defense, a very uncommon defense, but it's becoming more popular after the changes to this map because you can now hold in VIP, as you can see is being done right now from XSET. That ability to hold in VIP is massive. Creator's first kill is even more massive. Very important and impactful as Nyx goes down. Nyx doesn't have a lot of kills, but those kills he's been getting have been very impactful.
Well, if Mirage goes to overtime, and this goes to overtime, Mirage will stay on attack for at least 2 times, so that's one thing to keep an eye on. They will stay on this and essentially have 7 rounds in a row on the same side. It won't really break their momentum, but down goes Razor. He might have flown a little bit too close to the sun, and his Icarus impression is not ideal. With that, Mirage are able to equalize. Filthy's still off-site, as, yes, you're right, Penthouse Theater showing up, Michael, and this is where the very final regulation bomb site will be, no matter who prevails here.
It's definitely got potential for XSET, but they've got to be careful as it looks like they're being corralled by Mirage right now.
And an upside-down rappel. I don't know if Filthy saw him before thinking otherwise of it, but loading just not good enough reflexes on that one. Thomas sustaining some damage. Filthy's been dropped, so I guess he wasn't spotted by loading. Still on this rappel, can hop on in at any point. Luggage being commanded by Prod. 1 and 9, but his utility is what could potentially save the day here, if not for his firepower. Benji has the misfortune of breathing in a couple of those fumes. No retaliation yet from XSET as their numbers continue to dwindle, and Mirage seem firmly in control, leaving the 2 newest members of NVK and Prod to hold on. Just Prod left, and he's not going to be able to accomplish it at all. Mirage grabs their first win of the season. It's a 7-5 over XSET.
Really important time to come alive for Mirage, and congratulations to them, as this is also one of the best XSETs I have seen in a very long time. Huge win for Mirage. You can see Tommy is very happy as he starts telling everyone just how happy he is. Sunshine and rainbows, I'm sure, coming out of his mouth right now.
Well, I mean, for him, this was a match of revenge because he was dropped, some would say unceremoniously, from the squad, Michael, just a couple weeks back. Yep. So for him, he gets to go up against his old team, and by doing so, he enacts his revenge perfectly. So down XSET goes, and both Mirage and them will fight towards the bottom of the standings still. This was an opportunity for XSET to try and put some space between them, but this also means that at the moment with this victory for Mirage, amazingly, every team from third place downwards is currently tied with 3 points. So that's how close we are. Every single team right now sitting on 3 points. We'll see if that gets broken at any point, by the way, as OXG and the Sonics are hoarding all of the victories. But for Mirage, they were able to take a map that XSET had just played on yesterday, and not just played on, but bullied the second place team in the NA League. And Mirage made some changes. That timeout seemed to help them quite a lot. They settled down and they just continuously got better. Once again, another matchup where Mirage has a very slow start, then they're able to build on it, Michael. And once they start to build, they're a much better team. Today was a perfect example of that. They've come close before, but this is their best performance thus far.
Yeah, it's great to see Mirage grow so well and to see them start to come into their own. It was a little bit scary at the beginning of that match where they were struggling, but they managed to rally it in the end. So, GG's, and well, I guess Veli was right about this one. I'm looking forward to hearing what the desk will have to say about that after this break.
What does it take to call next? Follow us for a deep dive into the Rainbow Six community, breaking down barriers, taking you behind the scenes, and showing what it means to level up.
If you want to get better, try reviewing your game footage. Insights.gg's game capture tool makes recording and reviewing fast and easy. With no lag, automatic recording, and instant highlights, it's never been easier to learn from your gameplay. Try it for free at insights.gg today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NAL, where we just saw XSET lose to Mirage in pretty much a fun type of matchup. Thomas was previously on XSET during Stage 2, but now on his newer team, he was able to pull out a big victory here on Coastline, especially after seeing what XSET had to say yesterday on that same map for a cool upset. But for this segment right here, we have an interview with my man, Tin Bomb Tom. And Thomas, if you can hear me, and I can't wait to see you on that screen, baby boy. First things first. It's good to see you, man. But how does it feel to finally get this dub with Mirage? It's going good,
First
man.
Shout out to Mirage. Shout out to them. But also shout out to the XSET org. I have no bad blood with the XSET org. Just want to state that. I love the guys over there, Marco, the content creators, all of them over there. They're doing a wonderful job. But this match was much needed for me. During my free agency, it was tough, especially from the rumors coming from within some of the players on that team. Even some of them telling other people not to pick me up. So this felt really great. Obviously today was I didn't perform my best. My team did, but I feel like I did exactly what I need to do on my role, which was entry in, either get a kill or die with a trade. I feel like almost 90% of the times I died with a trade rather than dying without. So yeah, I think I did my job. So like I said, everything that's said on stage, or if anyone recorded out here on the stage, like I have no issues. That like it's just banner at the end of the day, but like it was a much needed venting situation for me. As you can see, my voice is gone. In in the early round, the very first round, I did a cheer. I think it's Samoan. It's a Samoan cheer. I was like, cheer! So I just wanted to like hype up the team. Like, you know, it's actually really dope. So you know, the vibes on the team is immaculate. Obviously, the first three games doesn't describe us as a team yet. This game itself doesn't describe us as a team yet. I feel like we have more potential. All I got to do is just like get a couple more steps in that play style that they want me to become in, and obviously the comms as well, rather than becoming an IGL, just becoming a player. So I feel like just perfecting that would help me within this team tremendously.
Thomas, I love you. I wish we could get you in for an interview after every series, even if you're not even playing the game. But you know what we saw on that main stage? We saw the same thing on that main stage that we're currently seeing in this interview. Your energy is just so influential, man. It's out there. You can't help but love it and feel it, right? But the thing is, your energy helped your team come back after that first half. And you being able to get that win, and what you said about you being replaced on XSET and people doubting you and saying things about you behind the scenes, does that fire you up to make you even want to play better in matchups like this, and to also push your team to go forward with that energy of yours?
Obviously, like I said, I once again have no issue with the org from XSET. I don't even have an issue with NVK and Prod. Probably a couple words from like NVK on, probably just a couple words from NVK talking about like, you know, like his trial phase on XSET during stage 1 or whatever it was. Like I have no bad bloods, but this does fire me up. Obviously, I'm on a new role rather than just flex. A couple games ago, if you've seen it, it was more so flex support. Now I'm like on entry on like maps like this. So like I said, it fires me up to become even more better than I am, because I don't even think I'm like developed to my fully stage. Like I still got a lot to learn, and I've been playing this game unprofessionally for like 6 years, professionally for like 2, 3, probably 3, 4 actually, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, I still have a lot to learn. Nyx is a tremendous IGL. Obviously, I think he was a better IGL than I was on XSET. And you know, when you say something about like that to someone, it motivates you. Yeah, I think he's a tremendous IGL, and he also comes from like SK, DZ, you know, that type of team where he learned from other teammates as well. So this team, like I said, with his direction, Dream's executional calls, Benji's fragging capabilities and loadings like flank watch, it's actually amazing to like have a flank watch that doesn't die nowadays. Like, you know, loading that fool, like when I say like hold my flank, he's holding my flank. Last stage when I said hold my flank, I died to flank. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The team is amazing. That's all I gotta say. And we're on the come up, little by little. Just like Prod says, 1% at a day.
There we go, baby. So there's trust in the team already. You love where you're at. Coming up next, Mirage is facing off against Beast Coast September 22nd for Playday number 5. Is there anything you got to say to the fans out there to let us know to look forward to that matchup? And how are you personally feeling about that game? Is this a new Mirage we're about to see from this point forward?
Like I said, I think Beast Coast. I'm not gonna lie, XSET has improved with their 2 new players. You can't like take that from them. Like I said, everything that's been like said on this interview, it's all banner. Obviously, like, you know, my relations with some of the players are, you know, exceedingly in this interview, but like they're doing really good. I think Beast Coast as well is doing really good with young Alec and Jay. They took TSM to bank yesterday, which I think is probably one of the worst decisions they could have made, because TSM was always known as one of those strongest bank teams, even when I was on their team when it was called EXG. So like I said, hopefully it's a good matchup. Once again, obviously, like, you didn't tell me to end it, but I'm going to just shout out Mirage. I'm going to shout out the XSET org, and I'm going to shout out the XSET org as well. Like I said, I have everything. Like, I have every love with you guys. Like, I have no issue. Even within this team itself, I think Drew is an amazing coach, as well as Jarvis and such like that. But like I said, today was just a heck of a day and a heck of a game to play. And hopefully we turned a lot of heads within this game.
I want to say one thing, Thomas. thank you for this interview. You know you're my boy. We all love you in this scene. And also,
Love you, bro. You
the
know
way
that.
that you show yourself when it comes to broadcast and what you do in the game, what you do for the community, we love it. Keep being just an inspirational figure and keep that positivity up, man. I wish you and Mirage the best of luck. Much love, man. And listen, you take it easy,
Much love.
and I'll talk to you later. Anytime.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Thomas from Mirage, and with the highlights coming right in from Predator. We're going to see how Mirage are able to get this big win against a new look XSET, who, by the way, put up a really good fight here on Coastline. Jacob and Jesse, help me break down the action.
Man, I wanted this game to be one that rewarded success for XSET, because early on, that's what they had. Plenty of it in spades. A 4-2 half, their attacks looking like they were all super objective, focused, and coordinated. And then what happens? They whip out Chanka 2 times on defense, lose 2 crucial rounds where Mirage suddenly gets steam back. And all of a sudden, Mirage, good win, but it looked like there were plenty of things XSET could have done to steal this one.
Man, you gotta love Tommy in an interview, right? Every interview he does is so good, and I like that he's kept it classy there. He's saying he respects the XSET org, the content creators, you know, Prod and NVK. A couple of names he left off that list, but we won't go into that one. Still, huge game from him and the rest of his team on Mirage. As he said, turning heads. This is the first time Mirage have gotten a win in Stage 3, and I think they're very relieved to finally have that on the board.
And by the way, Thomas's pop-off at the end of that game couldn't have been even better. Like, it couldn't have been any better. Mirage getting a 7-5 win against XSET on Coastline, who, by the way, Yeti from Sonic said on Twitter today, he said, I know firsthand how XSET are when it comes to Coastline. This is not a fun team to play against, and Mirage still put out a big way. Jesse, you spoke yesterday about how Dream needs to stay alive because of how important he is to this roster. 12 kills, 8 deaths in a row that he plays, that is significant.
Yeah, it's not often you see Dream come in here with a positive KD, let alone topping the entire team in terms of kills. I mean, he had a big game for sure on Coastline. Part of it, I think, is the map being able to move around and get a lot of those kills no matter what role you're on. But I think part of it also is just Dream taking that initiative, getting into sight, making the space for himself before he went in and got the plant down. It's almost reminiscent of how Playday plays in Europe over on BDS, right? You're able to go in, make that entry for yourself, make that space, be confident in your gunplay, and then get that defuse kit down as well. He was playing those objective roles, which I thought was really important. So shout out to Dream, probably the MVP for Mirage in this game, and he had a fantastic one today.
Talking about a fantastic job, and shout out to XSET as well. Creators with 13 kills and 5 opening kills. But I think the storyline about all of this is the fact that it was the trust that Thomas says that he has with his teammates. I mean, take a look at Loading, take a look at Nyx. Both of those players did great on the opening side, but also it's just having his back is what matters most. But Jacob, the one thing you liked about Mirage is you said when it came to their attacks, it was fast and, in quotes, chaotic. And in a good way, of course, because they put out the dub.
Yep, they absolutely did, and Mirage looked like a team that were able to get, like I mentioned, they got more steam back. It wasn't the case where they looked at them being 4-1 down when they were on a defensive half and said, well, there's no way that we can't resurface. I feel like their timeout, when they took it, when they were down 3-0, was a nice time to take it because they won 2 more of their rounds on defense, and then when they shifted halves, everything they did seemed like it was coordinated on one thing, and it was about going in hard and fast for several rounds in a row. That took all of the wind out of XSET's sails, and you might say Siege isn't momentum-based. It absolutely was for Mirage, because it was round after round, opening pick here and there. It looked like it was all clicking into place, so good job for Mirage for sticking through it until the end.
And Jesse, that big brain of yours, I'm gonna need your help for just a second, right? So we saw a lot of Tachanka be played, and Razor did get a very good blind fire. Someone in the chat said it was a gift from the god, right? Yeah. But the thing is, you guys weren't too happy with the way that he was utilized on this map.
Yeah, listen, I think Tachanka has a lot of potential here in the NAL, and I think that teams like TSM have really utilized this operator well, but there was just no Tachanka play that was working out in terms of the utility he brought. There was the one kitchen hold where we had Razor up above on Tachanka, and he tried to throw the fire grenade through the floorboards to stop the push from coming in. He ended up fire nading himself instead. The players on the bottom floor were able to run in, get the plant down, completely lost in the whole push. And then the final round as well, the second last round, I should say, playing in hookah, you've got 2 guys in cocktail. One of them is Tachanka, it's creators, and he actually blocks off his teammate
so that he can't swing around and stop the plant from happening. Again, directly impacting that round and likely giving it to Mirage. So, I mean, these are the plays you have to practice. Kicked railed on it a lot in the cast, and he's absolutely correct. This is what needs to be nailed down if you're going to be bringing Tachanka in these situations, especially in place of a smoke. You have to have these things nailed down.
Yes, and along with all of this breakdown you're doing, Jesse, you actually have another replay for us, and it has to do with something positive about XSET, right?
Yeah, it wasn't all bad for XSET. They did start with some really great attacks, and I want to showcase one of them that looks like it shouldn't work, but there's a great reason why it does. So it's once again a hookah attack, and you've got three guys coming in through Aqua, and then I believe one coming in through the hookah balcony. Now, one of them has died in VIP, that's Prod, but watch this. Dream's in a great position to stop the plant, but that lion charge, perfectly timed, right when Dream is vaulting over the couch. It means that he's not in a position to throw any more toxic babes to deny the plant or swing out. He has to stand still, and it's going to allow these players on XSET to push through Aqua and focus the guys inside of hookah and take those gunfights. If we press play on this replay now, you'll see this all play out. The players inside of hookah all going to fall down. There's Creators for one. I believe he'll get another one here. The nade going to fly out from Razor. There's Creator second. There's the nade from NVK. And now Dream can swing, but he's already in a player disadvantage, so it doesn't matter. Lion charge used excellently from Prod in that round, and I wanted to applaud it.
Now, Jacob, to close out this whole segment, I mean, there's plenty of good things we can say about XSET and Mirage as well, but let's just give a little more shine to Mirage, man. The criticism that we've given to players like loading and just seeing their progression, seeing even him do well, I believe 3 opening kills as well, and Thomas's interview saying how he said, hey, watch my back, and the job gets done like that. Do we see bright things over the horizon when it comes to this entire roster? Because that was a feel-good type of match to watch.
It was, but I'm going to say the same thing for Mirage that I said for XSET before this game started. I'm not putting the cart before the horse. I'm not about to get way too ahead of myself on something like this because, again, that was only their first victory. I liked what Thomas said in the interview about Nyx probably being a better IGL than he was. That's kind of high praise coming from someone who we know is a very vocal leader, teammate, like Thomas has been in the past, 100%. That's the kind of stuff that you like to hear, and that also does kind of help answer the question, who's calling the shots? For Mirage, it might just be a case of you needed a couple of games to shake out some inconsistencies or identify some really pivotal things that you need to fix going forward. But now you're out of the super weeks. You've played 4 games straight. You're going to have a bye later on in the season. But for right now, you can kind of focus on yourself, get more time to work on all of these little individual things that work going very well. And you've got way more time to do it because you only have 1 opponent per week, bye notwithstanding. I think it's overall a nice sign for Mirage. But in terms of things to come, like I said, not getting ahead of myself just yet.
We got to see what happens with Beast Coast and after that first, right, Jacob?
Yes, we do.
All right, now for the community poll, I feel like Jacob's going to be a big fan of this. Should we take away Caliber Jacob's laptop? Jesse, what do you think the audience said?
Take away the laptop. I thought it was, should we give him another one or something? But yes, take away the laptop. Please take it away. Easy poll.
So actually, Jacob,
I fought for this.
Jacob, show us the laptop,
so long,
man.
And it's finally here. You're not taking this thing away from me. You're just not. This is my baby. I actually use this. Parker doesn't even use it.
I say with that, we turn this into a fun game. Let's get the community involved. We need to come up with yet another bet when it comes to predictions this year. I don't think that it's
we were
way
thinking
out of reach
about it,
yet.
to be fair.
Yes.
Yeah, we're like, maybe for stage 3 it might not work out because it was all built up like, hey, the laptop in Mexico, cool. But now we're just like,
we had the shirt.
We had the shirt. That's true. Dude, the shirt was from the November major last year. You remember that? That seems like forever ago.
What about like the winner has to pie both of the losers in the face at like the next LAN or something like that?
Wait, doesn't Jesse owe me a cake?
Jesse,
listen,
you owe him a cake?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
All right, we're going to get to that. But actually what we're going to be getting to is Beast Coast versus Oxygen. And Jacob, when it comes to upsets and expectations in the NAL, yes, we want Beast Coast to win. We are on the Alec hype train, baby.
I'm cool with it,
but
yeah.
This ain't going to be an easy matchup, right?
No, absolutely not. I think OXG are on a hot streak right now, but if Beast Coast don't go to bank, then we're going to see a good game.
Wait, Veli, what did the people say about Jacob's laptop?
We don't need to see the results. No.
Yeah,
Veli was trying to gloss over the results.
Jacob, let's see how much the community actually loves you. 84% said take that damn thing away. No, Jacob.
Proud of you guys.
Jacob,
proud of you.
I do want to ask this question now. Has your quality of life been better ever since you got that Predator laptop in your life?
100%, but it was mostly just about getting what I finally deserved and just proving that I'm not a temp anymore. So that, like, it's not even like getting the machine, it's more about the status symbol.
I'm glad you graduated from intern. We love you here, man.
Finally.
But ladies and gentlemen, coming up next,
year.
let's see if we're going to have yet another banger of a matchup. Like I said before, Beast Coast will be taking on the best in NA, Oxygen. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break.